Welcome our guest for today's podcast show. We've got Ben Watson from Sydney, Australia. Now, I've been speaking to Ben for a couple of weeks now, and when I first chatted to Ben, very inspiring guy, does really cool stuff with movement, martial arts, and breath work. Ben is an MMA pro fighter. He's a jiu-jitsu brown belt with national titles at purple, blue, and white belt. He's an amateur Australian champion in Muay Thai and K1. He's a WEC method rotational movement specialist. He also completed an Ironman on 12 days' notice. That is ridiculous. We're going to get into that in a minute as well.
Yes. Good story.
Plus an Oxygen Advantage qualified coach and apnea survival qualified coach. Ben, welcome to the show, brother.
Absolutely. So great to have you and be that reciprocal energy, mate. Big smiles all around, and picked up on that energy after our first few calls and looking forward to keeping that going. So let's dive into it, because I've got a few things that we can talk about there that I'm sure a few other people would be interested in.
Tons. So, look, I mean, one of the main reasons I wanted to get you onto the show is after we had that chat maybe 2 weeks ago about breath work, and I think that looking around or working with clients, working in the health and fitness industry, we talk so much about movement, about building muscle, burning fat, trying to increase our metabolism, trying to stay active and be healthy. And one of the things that kind of you kind of notice with a lot of people is that a lot of clients I've worked with as well, and sometimes even myself, and sometimes we forget even how to breathe, where we're breathing, how to pace ourselves. Maybe that's a metaphor for life as well. So one of the questions I want to ask you straight off the bat is why is breathing so important? Why do we need to breathe?
Simple question of why. Well, I'll put it as this: it's so powerful. It's such a powerful thing that it is the first thing our soul will do to become a soul and begin our life, and the last thing that we ever do as we leave this world. So it's good. It's part of our life, and if you don't take control of it, it sort of will take control of you and you'll miss the boat. But I really like how you're saying that there's so many other things and factors that we look at with clients and stuff like that. And the way I look at it, man, is everyone, especially my competitors in the martial arts world, are trying to get 1% better at their strength training, 1% better at their sleep, 1% better with their nutrition. Every area they're trying to get 1%. But if they don't have breathing, you don't have any of that. So for me, that's that base, that's that whole structure that we build upon. And you can rewrite Maslow's hierarchy of needs with that exact sort of metric that I was just saying there. It's such a valuable thing at the bottom base of our life, that it will, if you focus on the breathing, that will allow you to get deeper sleep. That will allow you to perform better in the ring. That will allow you to digest better as well. It has all of these key areas that it can actually enhance. So it's one of the first foundations that I work with all of my clients and all of the people that I brush shoulders with. It is not only assessing their breathing, but helping them understand how to down-regulate, because we're a very upregulated society. Someone pulls out in front of us in traffic, a teacher yells at us, all of these things that sort of bring us into this upregulated energy. And for me specifically, when I fight and compete, when you're going out there, it's a very big chaotic sort of moment, and it's how do you control these moments? Well, it all comes down to the breathing, and if you are able to set up some tools and protocols for people specifically dependent on what their goal is, whether or not it's triathlons, big wave surfing, jiu-jitsu, all these different things have different protocols for what we should be looking at to use. And someone in my boat that's got that sort of martial intent behind every aspect of life has gone very, very deep down this rabbit hole and starts to encompass all these different areas of what is the right way to breathe for when we're having sex, what's the right way to breathing when we're actually preparing for exercise. There's a right way to breathe during exercise. There might even be a way to breathe after your exercise before you get into the car as well. And it's all just about tapping into what that what that person needs. But the way I work is usually with 3 pillars. You got the biomechanical, how you're breathing, and that's a fun little assessment to do with people. What's happening, like every breath you're doing, because there's 20,000 reps that you're doing throughout the day. If you can control that, you can start getting really good gains in those areas. That would be mechanical. Biochemical, about what's happening inside the body, the chemical reactions and stuff like that. And the other side that I tap into would be the psychophysiological, so the brain, the epicenter of our whole world. And it's a very fun thing to tap in, because you have to look at, with breathing, you have to look at all 3 of those pillars, because the mind will tell you one thing from your conditioning and what you've done for 28 years of my life. I'm sort of like bringing up with those areas is that you need to tap in. Breathing is not just one simple thing. That you need to address all those areas with clients, because we have so much conditioning, and also our body muscles and tissues are used to a certain level of oxygen or carbon dioxide. And so when you start to, when I've worked with people closely and gotten them through big revelations, they sometimes break out into hives or have like eczema start coming back up and out of their body, because their body is going through this flushing stage where their lymphs are now like able to actually drain and relax their body through this down regulation. So what I'm getting at is that assessing breathing is not just one action of this is the right way to breathe all the time. There's different ways to breathe throughout, and you need to tap into what's happening in the mental state, what's happening mechanically, what's happening every breath with your posture and all of that, and also what's happening inside as well. When I look at it, at breathing as an overarching thing, the whole goal of breathing for me would be to attain deeper sleep. The reason that if you make that a main focus, then you'll wake up more with more energy, more vitality, and then you'll be able to have more energy to do things that you love and able to have that complete focus. So, I've gone on a bit of a rant here, but I could keep going for days. Hey, yeah. Because breathing is the epicenter. Sorry,
it's the epicenter. I know, and I think that I think one of the things that comes to mind is okay. All of these, there's obviously so many benefits, but because we're so, I guess, subconsciously wired just to breathe. Well, we have to breathe, otherwise we don't live. So there's a way we've kind of like attuned a program of breathing in a certain way, whether that's an efficient breathe, well, probably in a very inefficient way, as you mentioned, with all the high levels of stimulus that we're getting. With the highly regulated, you mentioned highly regulated lifestyle.
Yes.
Yeah, that we're living in. So, how would people know that they're kind of like, what would be some of the symptoms that people could be experiencing if they're having like inefficient breathing? Yeah.
Great question, Rich. And look, ultimately, there's a few key markers that you could look at. Number one, are you waking up with a dry mouth in the morning? If your mouth is dry, it means that you've been breathing through your mouth at night. And that's not the most optimal way to be sleeping, because if your mouth breathing while you're meant to be resting, that's actually you walking up a hill, and you're putting on an extra load on your body and your diaphragm as you're meant to be recovering and resting. So if you've constantly got a dry mouth, you're definitely not got great breathing. The next one would be if you're needing to constantly drink water. The reason why is because when you breathe out and in and out through your mouth, you're actually losing a lot of moisture, because the nose actually filters and warms the air for absorption and keeps the moisture in the body. So it's fascinating. Like, I used to drink like a lot of water, and the more that I've actually harnessed my nose and used my nose as a foundation of like it has to be functioning before I get on with my day, the less I need. I don't need to drink as much, which is fascinating because I remember I used to have to always run to the water tap to wash my dry mouth. So yeah, next time you go for a walk up a hill, people, see what's happening with your breathing. Just tap in. Is it shallow and is it in the chest or is it deep into the belly? So that would be the next one. And viewers or people can do it at home. You just put a hand on chest, hand on belly, and then you take that breath in. And wherever that starts, that's an indicator of where you're breathing into. And now we've got to think, like, if we're actually only breathing into our upper chest, that's only a third of our lung capacity. So we're only breathing a third of the volume of oxygen in that we could be utilizing. So there's some low-hanging fruit for people there to just start breathing deeper. And yeah, so that would be my 3 indicators: dry mouth, drinking a lot of water, and where in the body is it starting. So put a hand on chest, hand on belly, and breathe into that and see where it is. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I got a few things that I believe that energy, I did write down in preparation for this, that I believe that like breathing does help with, that maybe some people would like to hear and just motivate them in the sense that like, that if they are lacking any of these areas or feel a calling to pursue these things, that maybe breathing is a good way to help them enhance that. So like, one of them would be the boost in energy, because you can upregulate or downregulate with your breathing and understand what you need for that resource. Focus and mental clarity, enhance athletic performance, helps ease digestion, optimizes your body's alkalinity. We'll get into that later, but reduces inflammation, increases happiness and motivation, helps manage stress and anxiety, helps with anti-aging, because every breath is a stress on your body, detoxes your body. The downregulation allows the body to relax and let the lymph nodes flush out, and that also aids with anti-aging. Healthier digestive functions, faster recovery in between sessions, better sleep, and release of the negative emotions. Now, like, that's like a little bit of a condensed area of things, but in the scheme of things, if every breath you're taking is putting a stressor on your body. So if you take a deep, full breath in right now, everyone at home take a deep breath in. What happens is you'll feel pressure around your heart because the lungs have filled up. Now, what that does, that puts pressure on your heart to beat faster. So as soon as you breathe out, that's the space around your lungs is decreased, allowing your heart more space for it to beat freer, to beat slower. So immediately in the exhale, you're now decreasing your heart rate variability. So if we're focusing too much on Wim Hof's breathing in and doing this up-regulating breathing, which a lot of us do, 80% of the world has dysfunctional breathing patterns. If we're doing this constantly throughout the day, we're putting a lot of stress on our heart. Now, that's an area of anti-aging that we're not actually talking about. So how do we actually make our heart rate slow down? How do we have that ability to control it? Well, it comes from controlling the breath. It comes from controlling the breathing muscles. And this might be a good little area where it's like, what is that area? How do you start doing that? Well, you have to start training the breathing muscles. You have to start making breathing a priority. Kickstart your diaphragm, kickstart your breathing, so that through your training sessions, you're working with your breath, not playing catch with your breath. And that's what I used to do with my running. I used to go for a run and try and catch my breath for the whole way. Now I go for runs and I'm working with my breath the whole way, and I get back and I'm sometimes barely sweating, even though I ran 5Ks in under 20 minutes. And it's all because I'm controlling through what my natural mechanism of breathing should be is my nose. The mouth is only used for 3 things. The mouth is used for talking, eating, and drinking, and kissing, my partner says. but I don't include that in athletic endeavors. But yeah, so and everything else should be nose. So for that factor, it's like, yeah, harness that, tap that in, and start breathing through your nose. Got me on a good rant, my man. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm trying to. That's brilliant. I mean, yeah, breathing through your nose, it's and there's a lot to do with like you mentioned about sleep. So obviously there's a huge amount of benefits to be that are linked with breathing better. You know, and one of those ones you mentioned was sleep, and I think who was it? I think it was the CrossFit athlete Matt. What's his name again? Matt Fraser.
Yeah.
He said.
Yeah.
Well, he mentioned that he said that sleep should be people should be sleep
enhancer.
should be performance enhancer. Right. He said that's like the best natural drug anybody can have. And then I also like there was who was the Bulgarian, was it Russian guy who fought Conor McGregor? He talks about it. Khabib, yeah, he talked about it. I saw that he said on a show that he would say he would train in the morning and go home. He goes, I didn't want to eat. I don't need to eat anything. I don't need to drink anything. I just need to sleep. If I can get to the best recovery tool is like I train for 2 hours, I go home, I sleep for 2 hours, and I train again in the afternoon, and I go to bed at night. And that's what I do. Train, sleep, train, sleep, train. Sleep.
Something beautiful about that only like chemicals and everything and the repairing tools only happen during sleep. So the game would be if anyone's breathing through their mouth during sleep, there's some low-hanging fruit there by just switching it to nose breathing, because that will be a game changer for a lot of people if they're sleeping with their mouth open.
If you've got some people, I mean, I've got a couple of friends that struggle and clients that struggle with sleep apnea. And they've one of them had the shades, and it's made it a lot better. A couple of them are trying different types of machines. And then if you've got blockages, for example, say for example you're struggling to breathe with a mouth closed at night because you've got blockage, you're feeling blocked in your sinuses or whatever, and actually struggling to get that. What do you suggest for somebody who's, even if they tape their mouth and they're struggling, kind of like what's the suggested sort of like way to sort of integrate that into?
Great way to bring it in would be you've got to think about what your breathing is like during the day, because how you breathe during the day is how you breathe when you're asleep, because you're unconscious when you're asleep. You can't control it, but you can control it during the day. So you need to start setting up some routine early. And usually I would recommend when it's the first thing in the morning, when you haven't got any food in your belly, and you start preparing your nose. You start opening up and clearing your nose. And there's several ways to remove blockages very easily. And a simple one would just be breathe in, breathe out, pinch and hold, and then you just rock your head up and down until you need to breathe in. Now, what's fascinating about getting that to happen is that will open up the airways and allow this sort of better breath to be taken in. So apnea machines, they can be reversed, and there's been a lot of people that have been able to step away from those machines, relying on those machines, because they're just a band-aid fix. As soon as you actually start taking control, and it might be a 4-week sort of endeavor, or some 10 days of real focus, because we're correcting 40 years plus of breathing a certain way. So, I'd love to have a vendetta against people that are selling those apnea machines, because they're not actually giving interventions before that. They're just selling that machine straight away. But there is ways to intervene before that. And that simple one that I just said would be breathe in normal. Have you got a blocked nose at the moment, Rich, or is it all right?
I'm fine. I'm okay at the moment, yeah.
Nice. But we don't need to do it with you. the game would be, it's
We
like
could try.
anyone at home.
We could try.
Yeah,
We
go
could
on,
try.
let's
Yeah,
do it.
yeah,
Let's do
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so breathe in normal, no shoulder lift. Breathe out normal. That was a big breath in. Normal
It
breath.
was, wasn't
Just
it?
normal
Yeah,
breath.
yeah, right,
Normal breath. Normal breath. Normal. So just it's in normal, it's out normal, and then you pinch and hold underneath your nose, and then rock your head up and down. Yeah. Now keep going, because you're going to get to a point where you feel medium air hunger. Keep going and push through that. Like you actually want to hold your breath here, like knowing that you're about to breathe in. Keep going, keep going, keep going, because you're fine. You're actually fine. You don't needing to breathe. Keep going until it gets quite challenging. Keep going, because in a minute you're going to breathe in normally. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep pushing it, keep pushing it. Stay in it, stay in it, stay in it. Keep going. Keep rocking that head. And the game is through this, your carbon dioxide levels are picking up, and that opens up. Yeah. Go on. You're about to breathe in. Very good. And then breathe out. Nice. Take one more breath, just normal. Did you feel anything mucus-wise move to the back of your head? Did it feel clearer on that breath in at all? Did you feel some focus start coming over?
Did, yeah. Feel like cleared a lot of here. Like, yeah, I did.
So did it actually clear a little bit of like your nose, even though you weren't even?
Yeah, I had a little bit, I had a tiny bit on the right side that was like kind of sitting there, but I do definitely feel it moving, the mucus moving a little bit.
Yeah,
it's got a bit looser at the back there.
Perfect. So you just tapped into
head rush as well.
Because you've increased your carbon dioxide levels, and what's amazing though of what you've just done is, if you still had blockages, you could very easily do that same thing again. It's free. It's not a $10,000 machine. You know what I mean? It's right there. In, out, pinch and hold. Go again. You know what I mean? So I've had clients, bro, where we have to do 3 or 4, and then on the 4th one, it's like this, boom, and the mucus will just disappear in the back, and it just opens up the airways. So yeah, like. Wow. If that resonates with anyone, reach out. I've got like a free breath consultation, 15-minute breath consultation on my Instagram. So reach out, and it'd be interesting to tap in with more people like that, if anyone felt that.
Brilliant, man. That's awesome. I mean, like even just like that kind of little applications, they can do that in the morning when they wake up. They can do it at night to prepare themselves for a good night's sleep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And open those airways. Yeah. That's awesome, man. I mean, yeah, there's so much to talk about on here, man. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm kind of interested in hearing from you is, you mentioned about some of the way. I'd like to go. How did you get into breath work? When did you first realize that? Okay, this is really important. This is like super like. This is something that I need to hear about. I need to explore, and you need to kind of invest in, and you want, and it's so much that you want to share with other people. How did it change your life? Yeah, how did it change your life?
It has changed my life dramatically. And it wasn't just 1% change; it's been 10% change. A lot of areas of my life had changed, but ultimately, through the fighting, bro. So I used to do Wim Hofs. I used to do a lot of Wim Hof things, thinking that was helping me performance-wise for my fighting and my training. But in the long run, it actually wasn't. And I've now got tons of backing and science articles saying how that sort of breathing is actually putting a stressor onto the body, and it doesn't benefit the performance. So where it sort of crossed the line for me was when COVID happened, and I started picking up this rope training, which is from WEC Method. And basically what you do is with a rope, you just don't jump it, and it's very, very calming. It's sort of like a movement meditation. And what I was finding is that it was so calming that I would want to do more of it, but I kept getting tired, even though I didn't feel physically tired. And I kept going to have to sip water and watching my mouth was dry, and all these like fascinating little things that were happening to me while I was doing this practice. And from that, I started to actually go, okay, there's something wrong here in my mechanisms, because I know that this rope training is good for me. It's not taking energy away, something I'm doing. And from that, I started like going down a rabbit hole, hey, and just started looking at other modalities of breathing, stumbled upon Oxygen Advantage, and from there found an Oxygen Advantage instructor, or also listened to the owner of that, Patrick McGowan, who I had the honor of meeting last year as I was becoming a qualified instructor in his discipline. It was really cool to sit down and chat with him at dinner and stuff as well. But ultimately, I met a guy called Dave Wood, who's now Izzy Adesanyal's breathing coach, the middleweight, or used to be the middleweight champion of the world in the UFC. But I was fortunate enough to be linked up with him and tap into that. And what was fascinating was the thing that Wim Hof didn't do was address what I was doing for the 23 hours and 50 minutes throughout the rest of my day. I would do a Wim Hof for 10 minutes and then think I was done. For the game that I found with working with Dave Wood and a few other Oxygen Advantage instructors, and also what Oxygen Advantage preaches, is what is your breathing like throughout the day? What are you doing for those reps? And I found out that I actually had dysfunctional breathing. And there's a few tests that I still use to this day with all my clients, called the Bolt score and a few others, to measure whether or not, or just having a number that you can actually see yourself progress over time. And once I did that test, I actually was shocked at how low my score was, because I was one of the fittest athletes in the training room, in my MMA rooms and jiu-jitsu and striking, and I would have considered myself fit, but on this metric I wasn't. And then I had a number that I could chase. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get to this number and see how my life changes. And on that course, through that journey, the most amazing, magical things have happened. For instance, I used to run a sand dune. This sand dune, I'd do it on Sundays. It would kick my butt because you'd just be exhausted for the week, but you just got to get out and do something, tick over the body. And I'd run the sand dune, I'd be exhausted. I worked up to getting my Bolt score at a certain number that was considered athletic, came back to do this sand dune, and I could do the same sand dune that used to kick my ass without actually breathing. So I would breathe in, breathe out, pinch and hold, and run up the sand dune, get up to the top, and I was calm, collected, and not even breathing heavy. And from there, I was like, okay, something here I have to double down on this breathing, because it changed not only my athletic performance, I could see it aiding to my potential as well. And then ever since then, it's been a journey. So I went and did the Oxygen Advantage instructor qualifications, and then I ended up reaching out to Apnea Survival, who works with free divers and big wave surfers here, which is they're even more intense in the scene, in the scheme of things. And when I showed up for that coaching course, I was not the strongest or the fittest in the room. There were some elite level people, and I had to do a lot of learning in that stage. So it's just been a consistent thing now, building on top of that, and now I'm trying to spread the word and get this out to people that we need this as a fundamental foundation of health and vitality for people. So I'm on a mission to get people's Bolt scores up, and also something called their control pause, because I believe if the whole world had something above a control pause of 30 seconds, there'd be no war, and disease would start being washed away as well, because our body would start becoming in more harmony and doing what it needs to do. It doesn't want to hold disease. Our body wants to remove that and flush it away. You just got to give it the right protocols. So yeah, man. Big rant again, but basically,
Breath work can solve the world's problems. Basically, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on it, man. I want to be a voice in that area, and yeah, preaching for the top of the crowd because it's helped me. It's if I had this as a kid in school, I would have focused way better. I would have been able to be more attentive and not had as many dramas or kicked out of rooms and all of that I did and fights. It's changed my life, and as a martial artist, I am very, very grateful. And yeah, man.
Yeah, outstanding. And I mean, I can, as I mentioned from the very first call, we can feel the desire and then the passion coming through the video. How can people learn more about this with you? What are you doing? Sort of like in which ways are you developing, coaching, training people at the moment with this?
Love it. Great. Yeah. So I offer a course called Baseline Breathing, and it's a 4-week course where we work on improving that area where I was saying what are the reps you're doing throughout the day, and setting you up with a baseline breath, a breath that you can rely upon while you're waiting for the bus, breath that you're able to use when the boss yells at you or someone tries to cut you off. And it takes 4 weeks because you need to create a new habit. So I guide you through that and provide a breathing plan, and we do it as a group. So it's kind of a fun group, and because everyone's on the same mission of improving. And so, that's my way that I'm doing it to the world at the moment. I also host it in person here, but if anyone out there in the wonderful world of the internet wants to reach out and get that happening, they just need to jump on my Instagram, and there's a free little free breath consultation that they can tick. And it's just a free 15-minute breath assessment to see if you've got perfect breathing or if I can add anything to, and to see if we can actually get you into a course or what we need to do in order to optimize your breathing and optimize your energy levels as well.
Yeah, awesome,
Please
man.
Reach out to me.
So that's Instagram. Is that best on Instagram? Yes. And what's the Instagram IG handle?
Yeah,
I'm going to put it up on the screen, but it will.
Yeah, please. Let's do so. Ben8 Watson, and my website as well that would have that link in there as well would be wildpotential.com.au.
Cool. Wildpotential.com.au.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, bro.
Great stuff, brother, man. This is brilliant. Man, it's been so good. It's been so good to have you. We've had a quick show today, but it's been great to have you on, man. There's some great snippets. I think I'd love to explore more with you as well. And one of the other things I'd like to get, and maybe we could talk about next time. I know you did a 72-hour fast, right? Yes. Before, is that your longest fast?
That's my longest fast to date. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of we're doing a jumpstart program here at the labs with the community of clients.
Yeah.
And one of our this week's challenge is a fast. They can go from sort of 18 up to 72 hours if they want. Any like last little nuggets of gold tips that you can give to anybody about to go onto a fast?
Love it. Yeah. Become present and put down the phone, put down the screens, and just try and listen to what's happening inwards with the body, because by not letting it have food, you're allowing to rest that digestive muscle, and it's just a function, and amazing things of healing and deeper healing work will start going through you. So I think some either emotions or tightness and niggles, or just even the ability to release those tensions and niggles will happen in those times. So if you just put down the phone and legitimately just spend some time focusing on the start of your next inhale and the finish of the next exhale, and just start focusing on that breath, because it will give you life. Yeah, that's my words, bro.
Awesome. I love it. So don't try and escape by trying to do billions of different things to try and keep busy. Actually kind of like be with it and actually, listen, focus inwards.
take it in as a moment that you don't need to do extra training because you're actually fasting.
Yeah.
And just lean into that and accept, okay, the thing I'm doing today is actually fasting. And if my body doesn't want me to do a workout or extra things, I'm not going to do it. And I think that's one thing that I really liked when I did my 72 was it forced me to listen to what my body needed. And I feel like it's propelled me into this year dramatically because it allows me to be more in tune with where I'm at and who I am trying to be and who I am.
Wow, it sounds like it's going to be just not. It sounds like if we let it, it could be way more than just restricted eating. There's way more to it.
There's a reason why animals do it. There's a reason why it's been a practice for years and years before us. Like, there's truth to it, bro. There's truth to it. Nice. I love tapping back to the hunter and gatherer factor. It's like if I was starving, there'd be mechanisms inside my body like thinking, how am I going to get that food? So I came back stronger than ever, bro, after my 72. Nice. So anyone that's on the edge of that, just once again, reach out if you want that little bit of motivation. I'm sure Rich has got a good support crew around him as well, and push through those little barriers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's kind of like one of the reasons why we all decided to do it together, because we could kind of push each other and like, how are you feeling? Are you struggling? And what's the go? Yeah.
The one I love, last one. Sorry, brother. I love this one. Is that Jocko Willink goes, "Are you actually starving? Are you actually starving? Of like, you're not starving. You're not. You can do 7 days without food. Fine. It's the water that you need. So just keep the water going." And,
love it.
Awesome. Okay.
Cheers, brother, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on board and to come and give this. And thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate your time. We know you're a busy man, and really appreciate some of the nuggets that you shared with all of us today. And I'm sure a bunch of people are going to be get in touch with you to have a chat more about your consultation, find out how they can improve their breath, myself included. So thank you so much, brother.
Thank you. You too, bro. Thank you for the energy and the reciprocal. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. Of course. Cheers, brother. Thanks.